who wants to talk about chords? Hello friends and neighbors, welcome back to the Brownstone. My name is Rich Brown. I hope you're doing very well. Today I have the 6th string here on display because I wanted to talk about chords, but I don't want you to leave if you are not a 6th string player, because all this stuff will very easily apply to 4th string players as well. What I wanted to talk about today was all the different possible choices that you have available to you for one chord. If you're playing a major chord, that's not the only option available to you. There's so many different options, and we're going to go through a bunch of them, and I have a very simple system that will allow for you to find all of these beautiful colors in the palette. So my suggestion to you would be to grab some paper and some sort of writing implement and take notes on this lesson. I know that there are a lot of people who have requested PDFs from this channel. I don't really do that because that's not how I learned. I found that in taking my own notes and writing things down for myself, it made me think about things more as I was writing them, and it's almost as if I'm already practicing before I even take it to the bass. So as I said before, today I am using my trusted new friend, the F-Bass BN6 that I just acquired, and I'm loving it very much. Many, many thanks to the folks at F-Bass. But if you don't play a 6th string, if you play a 5th string or a 4th string, this stuff will totally apply because, well, today I'm going to be working with the C major scale. And I'm going to start that C major scale on the A string. But if you play 4th string or 5th string bass, then I would suggest you move down to the 8th fret of the E, because all the shapes that we're going to talk about will very easily apply here as well. So if you're playing a 4th string, you're here. If you're playing a 6th string, you're here. Now, as you heard, I was just playing the C major scale, right? Going from the root all the way up to what is essentially the 11th, and then back down. This is very important because we're going to use these notes to put our shapes, our voicings together. And I have this very hip system that will allow for you to find all of these beautiful colors within one chord. So if I just talk about the major scale and a major chord, then check it out. I've got the root, the 3rd, the 5th, 7th, and then there's the 9th if I want it. And there's the 11th. That was just all of the odd numbered notes going up to the 11th. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11. Now, if I play your basic bar chord, everyone knows this shape. I've got the root, that's the 5th of the scale. There's the octave of the root. There's that major 3rd, that 10th. But, you know, that's a pretty stock voicing that just gives me the triad, essentially. There's the root, there's the 5th, there's the 3rd up top, and then for some reason I'm playing the root again there. I don't need to do that. So what I want to do is try to find some different options. And here's the basic explanation. The 6 notes available to me on the strings that I have skipped, the strings that happen in between my root, volume, my root and my 10th, there are 2 strings that I've skipped in order to create this interval. And on each of those 2 strings, there are 3 notes available to me that I can use to create a different chord voicing for the major 7 chord, or just the major chord. And they're beautiful options, right? So let's say we start with the string down from our root, the next string down. So if my root is C and I'm on the A string, then I'm going to deal with the D string. And on this string, I have 3 notes available to me. I have the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th. I already know I can eliminate the 4th. That's kind of an avoid tone in the scale that's not going to sound all that great in my major chord shapes. So that leaves us with 2 options. I've got the 3rd and the 5th. So if I play the 3rd, that just gives me an octave where I have the 3rd here and then the 10th here. That's an octave. So I don't have to play that. That's reinforcing something that's already there. I can play the 5th. That gives us our basic triad. So let's go with the 5th. So now I can look at the next string down, in this case, the G string, or the string that has the notes that contain the 6th, the 7th, and the octave of the scale. See what's happening there? So if I'm playing a C major scale, I want to look at the string that contains the last 3 notes of my scale. So in doing that, I know I've got, in my shape already, I've got the root, the 10th, which is the major 3rd, and the 5th. So on that next string down, I could play the root again. That gives us our basic bar chord. I could take that root down a fret and play the major 7th. So then how do I play that? I can do something, maybe I'll play my 2nd finger on the major 7th of the scale, my 3rd finger on the 10th, that octave above the 3rd, and then I'm going to let my little finger come back and grab the 5th, and then my 1st finger is going to play the root, and I have this beautiful major 7 chord. Sounds wonderful. And here I've got all the bases covered. All the chord tones are underneath my fingers in this particular shape. I've got the root, I've got the 5th, I've got the major 7th, and I've got the major 3rd above at the top of the chord. So that's a great shape. Huh? Pretty good. But there's more. So let's try something else. Let's take this shape. We've got the major 7 chord. And let's say I take that major 7th down to the 6th, the note A, right? So if I keep all of the other notes where they are and just move the 7th to the 6th, it gives me a different shape altogether. I have the root, the 5th, the 6th, and then the 10th up top. Okay, now that's a bit of a stretch, and it might be a difficult chord to hold down. But I got you. Check this out. This 3rd up top, that's our 10th. But remember, as we were going through the odd numbered notes, I played the root, 3rd, 5th, 7th, 9th, and the 11th. The 11th is the octave of the 4th. We already know that that note is not going to be involved. Eliminated. So that means our only other option is going to be the 9th, the note D. So this might make life a little easier for you if I change my shape to the root, the 5th, the 6th, and the 9th. A beautiful sound, and a sound that I think I prefer over this very difficult shape. So here I've got the root, again the root, the 5th, the 6th, and the 9th, essentially a C6-9 chord, which is a great substitution for a C major 7 chord. I can even play that. That's for all you 4-string players out there. I'm starting it at the 8th fret of the E string and doing the same thing. There's the root of the scale, the 5th of the scale, the 6th of the scale, and the 9th of the scale. What I'm doing to play those last 2 notes is just barring my 1st finger across those 2 strings. And then the root and the 5th. It's a beautiful sound. So now let's look at some different options. The chords that we've covered so far have mainly involved the root and the fifth, and then the two strings below that, we've just kind of been changing the notes around and switching to some different scale tone combinations. That's really what we're dealing with. So you can experiment with all of this, right? If I just play the root and the fifth, and then recognize that I have the sixth, the seventh, the octave, the ninth, and the 10th, let's just deal with those 5 notes. Then all of the combinations that I can think of, you can just try to experiment with the possibilities with those 6 notes, or 5 notes, because we're not playing the 11th. And when you see those 2-note patterns, those dyads, as they are called, then you can recognize those little patterns on those 2 strings. And then you add the root and the fifth. So again, that's root, fifth, sixth, and the ninth. Well, let's say I play the root, the fifth, and then bring the sixth up to the major seventh, and then play the ninth. That's gorgeous. And then we have our trusted root, fifth, major seventh, and then 10th to cover the major 7 chord. So the simplest thing that I can do to find our alternative options would be to recognize all the patterns that we discovered before on our last 2 strings. In other words, recognize where the 6th, the 7th, the octave, the 9th, and the 10th, the octave of the major 3rd, where they are all going to be, and then also recognize how to combine or find all of those combinations of those 5 notes. When you do that, then what you do is you find one of those pairs and then add the root and then add the 3rd. So here I have the root, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 9th. Sounds gorgeous, right? So let's say I take the 6th and move it up to the 7th. Then I have the root, the 3rd, the 7th. I can bar with my first finger and play the 9th to get this beautiful sound. Huh? Let's say I take the 7th, bring it back down to the 6th, and then play the 10th. So now I have the root, the 3rd, the 6th, and the 10th. I have the 3rd twice, but it doesn't sound bad to me. That's a nice little chord. All right, now do you see why I want you to take notes? There are a lot of options available to you there. And if you have them all written down, then you can create your own shapes and find your favorite voicings for a major chord. And again, as I demonstrated, if you want to do this on a 4-string bass, you just start all of these patterns on the 8th fret of the E string, and you got it. And that is that, my friends and neighbors. I'm going to leave it there. Just an introduction into how I like to put together these different chord voicings. Originally, I was going to cater this to the 6-string players, but as you can see, it is very easily applied to 4-string and 5-string instruments. So have fun. And if you like this lesson, please do me a huge Please do me a huge favor and click the like button to let the YouTube algorithm know that more people need to see this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. The channel is really growing at a fantastic rate, and I love seeing that. So thank you to those who have already joined the channel. There are also a number of ways that you can donate to the channel if you're in a position to do so. I will leave a link in the description box that will allow you to donate whatever amount you see fit. You can also join the channel for $5 a month, Canadian. There's a little thank you button underneath the video that will just allow you to donate $1 or $2 if you feel like it. All of the above is greatly appreciated, and have fun with this, y'all. Thanks for visiting me here in the Brownstone. My name is Rich Brown, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.